Let's hop over to the AFC side of the bracket where things feel very chalky. Not all of these seasons went as expected. Obviously, a rough second half of the year for the Houston Texans before they impressively beat the Chargers in the wild card round. I don't know if everybody was as high as I was on the Buffalo Bills. You get the point, though. 3 MVP caliber quarterbacks and a Houston Texans team that everybody was very high on heading into this season. Those are your final 4 for the AFC. I don't think anybody's terribly surprised, which for what it lacks in shock factor, it makes for some incredible matchups. Really, really excited about this half of it. And to talk about it, we're bringing back our guy, USA Today national NFL reporter Tyler Dragon. Tyler, I love synergy, man. And we pulled it off because the last time you were on the show, it was leading into the Chiefs Texans game just before Christmas. And here we are again. Early game, the first of the divisional games, early Saturday, Texans at Chiefs. Did last week do anything for you to bump up the juice in this game? Because I think 2-3 weeks ago, this didn't look all that enticing, but man, that Houston defense was impressive last weekend.
So you can replay everything I said a few weeks ago and just play it right now. Because I still think the Chiefs are going to win this game pretty easily, I might add. I look at the game last week with the Houston Texans, and yes, it was a fantastic effort by that defense. And not a lot of people were talking about Will Anderson wrecked that game. I mean, he was the best player on the field. He was blockable for the LA Chargers. And to me, in my opinion, he really forced a lot of the pressure that forced Justin Herbert to create a lot of those interceptions. 2 of those, yes, went off receivers' hands, but Will Anderson deserves a shout out for his game in that wild card round. But when I look at the matchup against the Kansas City Chiefs, it's a tough matchup because the Chiefs have a lot more skill position players that can hurt you on the outside than the LA Chargers. You know, when you have a Hollywood Brown, when you have a DeAndre Hopkins, we already know what Kelsey can do. So to me, it is a bad matchup for the Houston Texans. This Texans team, I do think that defensively, they'll still create pressure and cause Mahomes a little bit of, uncomfortable times in the pocket. But when I look overall at the bigger picture, I still think the Chiefs will win this game. And after all, Patrick Mahomes is 6-0 in the divisional round. It's hard for me to believe that his first loss in the divisional round will be to the Houston Texans.
I want to be very clear. I think that's dead on. And I certainly don't want to pick against Patrick Mahomes to lose as early as he ever has to what has been a flawed Texans team all year long. But if I'm at least going to play devil's advocate, you mentioned Will Anderson. We know Danielle Hunter's over there as well. I mean, they got a bunch of guys that can get after the quarterback. Danico Autry had some really impressive plays against the Chargers last week. And we know if there's an Achilles heel to this team, it's left tackle. And that's what I'm looking at all this week. Andy Reid said they're going to rotate Joe Thuney, their all-pro left guard, with DJ Humphries, the veteran left tackle. A little bit of gamesmanship going on there about who's going to start on the left side. But between a guard playing out of position or a tackle who had some rough moments in the games that he's played, surely D'Amico Ryans can come up with some sort of pressure package that takes advantage of that.
Yeah, and that's the biggest matchup problem that the Chiefs have. And I do agree with you. The Texans are going to have to get pressure with Hunter and Anderson to be able to win this game. But the thing is, the best quarterback in the pocket to buy time, to climb the pocket, and to scramble out is the guy they're playing in Patrick Mahomes. So that's where I do think that it's not going to be that big of an issue. However, if Hunter and Will Anderson can get home, this game could turn ahead and we could see an upset. I don't see it happening, but yeah, I do agree with you because if the Texans have these exotic blitz packages, or if they're able to get home with just their front four, then that poses a huge problem for the Chiefs. But to me, that's what every team is going to try to do against Kansas City. They know that that tackle position, but at both sides, is a position of weakness for Kansas City. So they're going to try to exploit that. The thing is, though, that's been a position of weakness last year. It was a position of weakness
Right.
probably the year before too, and the Chiefs been hoisting the Lombardi Trophy. I know
That's
I hate to sound like a Chiefs homer, and I just don't see it happening this week.
I mean, look, all these guys were available the first time this game happened. And Patrick Mahomes, you and I even talked about he injured his ankle the week before, how healthy he's going to be. Should they consider sitting him? Maybe this isn't the defense to be playing Patrick Mahomes against. And not only did he run for 33 yards and a touchdown in that game, also the Texans struggled to really get a lot of pressure on him. I mean, I looked this up after the fact. They hit him 11 times and they did get a sack, but Mahomes was not, he was only pressured like 28% of the time the last time this matchup happened. So it is the playoffs. Things change in the playoffs from time to time, but there's just such a body of work here with the Chiefs that I have a hard time seeing it. Even if I think the Texans will make it uncomfortable because almost every Chiefs game has been uncomfortable, I'm not choosing this as the week to go against the champs.
Yeah, to me, the Texans have to try to establish the run with Joe Mixon and play ball control, try to milk the clock, and make the Chiefs play from behind. And that's when Patrick Mahomes is forced to pass and can hand the ball off to Isaiah Pacheco. And then you could unleash those pass rushers. That's maybe the strategy I can see the Texans employing, but will it be successful? I mean, it's hard to bet against Kansas City, but if they were able to get Mixon involved like he was last week, had over 100 yards against the Chargers, if Mixon can cross the century mark, 20, 25 carries, get into the end zone, they have possessed the football 30 minutes. That's a recipe for success against Kansas City, but that's a tall order, especially with Chris Jones coming back too in the middle.
Speaking of Chris Jones, I guess, again, if I'm just trying to play devil's advocate, I did the math and it has been 24 days, or on Saturday, it will have been 24 days since a meaningful member of the Chiefs played football. And if it were any other team in the league, I'd probably be worried about that. But my trust in the Kansas City Chiefs is just implicit at this point. Like, I got to see them struggle and look rusty in order to believe that that's an issue come playoff time.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why it's important for the Texans to start off fast. And maybe you can have the Chiefs thinking about it and getting nervous. Are we rusty? Are we ready to play this game? Did we come prepared? And if you start off fast, then the Chiefs have to play catch up, and then you could unleash those pass rushers and Hunter and Anderson.
All right. So we're in agreement. I think this will be an entertaining game, but not the day that I expect the Chiefs title defense to come to an end.